Alright, so we're back. Just to get a food break here. I was thinking of not actually streaming more, but then I started to work on actually work on the project a little bit. So I created, excuse me, I just ate a bunch of stuff. So anyway, there we go. I just gonna drink a little water. Okay, sorry, excuse me. Anyway, I created all these entities, so I think we have all the entity types. We have some random test things that I'm gonna wait with deleting once I have that feature in the editor. So, but we have all the entities. Now, a couple of things will remain until we can get the game actually start working for this. One thing would be to update the scenes. So all the scenes right now, let's take the test village for example, they have these entities here, and each entity is actually of the old sort of format right now. And so we have these IDs here, or I mean the NPCs here, and they worked in a way here where we added an entity called NPC, and then we set metadata to be some sort of ID here. And I guess we could still have that kind of thing. What I did now was actually create each like NPCs, like each type of NPC like this instead. But yeah. So, but anyway, another thing that we want to do is, well, yeah, the thing that I was gonna say here is all of these NPCs, we're gonna all of the existing like entities except for these special kinds, because they are actually like hard coded sort of into the editor, which is like the entrance and exit entities here. But the NPCs here, we actually need to delete them. Well, they are basically just placeholder anyway, but if we want to replace the entity that we already have, we need to actually delete this entity and then add a new entity here. Oops, did that not work? Okay, I'm pretty sure we actually could do that. Okay, I need to double check this because I was pretty sure we actually had a way to do that. Let's go to the scene editor. And maybe it got broken. I think it might be in handle input. Yeah, create. Yeah. Here we go. Alright, because we were using this drag payload, which we don't have anymore, basically. I wonder if you can actually do this once because this is sort of like outside the scope of, outside the context of ImGUI. So I'm not sure if we can actually do this. I guess we could just add populate the drag payload. But okay, we'll do this. We'll do drag payload is gonna be get drag block payload. If you don't have then we return. So now this one is a pointer to the payload. Now we actually need to get the node here. Where do we do this? Let's go assets manager. Payload. Yeah, here. Let's drag node. All right. Okay, so now we should have that, and then this would be drag node. Yep. And then we don't really care about this. But we do want to, like, if we reach this point and this one is released, then we actually want to accept the payload. So I think, let's see. Well, actually, it's like the same thing here. I think we want to do accept. So let's try and do, instead of if this, we do accept payload asset flags. Yeah, I don't know. And then we don't really care about the results. Okay. Well, let's try this. Of course. Errors. Asset library, context, asset library, unused. Wait. Oh, okay. Expected expression. Wait, what happened? I accidentally pressed undo or something. There we go. Okay, so now yeah, let's try going in here. Let's open up our entities and we'll bring in this guy. Okay, so at least something's happening. But it did crash on us, I think. Yeah, it's just taking longer than usual to close down here. Okay, there we go. Did it have to output a bunch of stuff? No. Segfault. Okay. Right, so it's trying to find wherever we are dropping this in. So that, I think that's the issue here, because we're dropping it like outside of INGUI. So I think that's like not only outside of the context of INGUI, but also outside of where we call like INGUI begin and INGUI end and stuff, and also outside of like any type of INGUI window. So that's kind of the issue here. I wish there was a way to just accept it, and we don't really care about no cross context, no cross process, source extern. So the source, we don't, it's like the target that's like. So I want to sort of consume the drag.payload, without actually I guess we can set it to no, maybe. Okay, I am going to. I'm just gonna Google this real quick here. Ingui accept drag drop outside window. And of course, there's not much help with that. I wish it was just a way to clear the dragged up state. Maybe it does. Maybe it is cleared automatically when you release the button actually. So yeah, I mean, okay. But in that case, how can we make sure that we actually get it here? Because if this is the same frame, then it's probably already disappeared. So I guess we can try it. I mean, yeah, because we will need this to be able to create the entities. Okay, there we go. So we can actually just create them like this. Okay, cool. So it, luckily for us, the drag drop state actually persists during that. So, okay, cool. And yeah, so now we got this Kottefolket, so we don't actually need to keep this guy around. We just put you down there. So we basically have to replace all of these, and then in the code, in the game code, we have to like yeah, I'll put the elder. Was it there? Yeah. In the game code, then we can what is it? Well, let's save this. So now we don't need any method out all these guys. We can yeah, we have to update the game code to actually be able to interpret these custom entities. So instead of having this NPC and having method.id, we are gonna look at the name of the entity itself. So let's see if we can get this test village scene to work. Right, let's press play and see what happens. Of course it's gonna crash. Let's see what the issue is. Error reading unknown field. Okay, it can't even open up the scene JSON. So let's go to scene document persistent data and see what is the actual difference between well, actually maybe it's easier to actually look at an actual scene. So let's do projects. I should probably make a backup also, but let's see. Test village scene. Yes. Okay, let's save it so we get a nice formatted thing here. I think maybe it's custom that's the issue. I'm gonna switch over to the game code. Okay, so we do have custom actually. So that's not the issue. Actually, oh yeah, this is actually an this is actually like not the ID. This should be the ID here, and not like the file name. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's go to, well, yeah, let's go to layout scene, and we add this entity. When we create the entity, we're actually putting in this part. We should, so the thing is, if we put in ID, we need to like find the ID, so the game code actually needs to, yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to be able to read IDs anyway. So we have to re-implement the asset index functionality. It's gonna have to be able to read the asset index functionality through the, well, in the game code. We have to add it there as well. All right. 1 second here. All right. Okay, so that's one thing that we need to do. And I also, yeah, I really want to fix this so it's not actually a string. It has to be it's gonna be the ID. Yeah, that's gonna be the ID. So, and then we actually don't need to free this. There we go. So now we have a whole bunch of things that we need to do. So we don't need to do this. Let's just go through this. So since it's a string, we need to duplicate it, but now it's not a string, so we don't need to actually do anything. We just need to copy the value. Okay, so that's that. What else are we doing? Okay, I'm just gonna search. Right here we have, yeah, this is where we create it. So instead of doing this thing, we can just say ID. And actually, if we don't have an ID, we just return. So yeah, very nice. We don't, yeah. So nice to get rid of this string manipulation stuff. That's the worst part here. Okay. Like strings and arrays. I mean, it's really nice that we have like array lists and stuff, but just a whole host of issues that can creep up on you with the pointers and stuff. Okay, and let's remove the drag, the old stuff there. There we go. Okay, let's check out some more. So this one we did. Document. What's going on here? This is what's this? Get texture. Okay, so we don't need to do this, I don't think. I think we could probably like remove this because we're not. I think we are. I mean, we're obviously able to render the thing, so we're not even using this anymore for custom. So we should probably just remove this. Because we already do this. Yeah, okay, this is the only one that's actually meant here. I can like get the size. So that's fine. Okay. Now let's check that one. Draw entities. Yeah, so here's where we actually draw this. Draw the entity here. And we get, so this is now an ID. So request document type. So we should actually do by ID instead, and that's all we have to do. Right? We're not using the C anywhere else. I don't think. No? Oh, well, it should be the same here as well. Okay. And what's happening over here? What is this function? Draw entity. Okay. So that doesn't matter. Okay. Cool. So I think that's all we need to do actually. Well, we need to go in and update this the scene entities. So let's open up this. And we have to open up the index file. Oh, where was that? No. Yeah, just projects, cache index, and a search for entities. Huh, why do we have two? Okay, we have them down here. So we need, this is the elder. Okay. So let's search for elder in here, okay. Oh yeah, we only have one, of course. And then Kottefolket. There we go. Okay, that should be that scene updated. So if we open this, hopefully it will work. Come on, one time. Yes. I usually get compilation errors. So we open this up. Oh, it crashed. Okay. Okay, what's the issue here? Segfault, draw entity. Okay, so let's go to that. Scene entity custom. What's the issue though? Catch return or else return. Yeah, it's when I go into context.sig, the LSP just gives up and crash. So there's something weird in here that makes the LSP actually crash. So it might be that I can actually avoid that if I find out like what is it crashing for, and I can just avoid using that sort of feature or that syntax or whatever. Because from the error message it looks like it's related to some sort of parsing of a node or something like that. So it might actually be avoidable, but because it would be really nice to be able to use the LSP for more than like 2 seconds. Once you go into context, it just fails. I wonder what it would be. I'm just gonna check real quick what the error message was. 16, 15. So let's see. It starts here. Reach unreachable code. Result type of node uncached. Switch node text node. Result type of node internal. Type. Wait. Const ty. Ty equals try analyze the result type of node uncached. Yes. Write node tokens. So I'm not seeing. Okay. Like, I'm not seeing where the actual issue is. There's some sort of weird token. Maybe it's like, I guess, yeah, it's going in tokens, node tokens. Maybe there's a weird token somewhere that it can't handle. Maybe I accidentally added some weird character somewhere. Oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to check here though. Like, do we have any of my Swedish characters in here? No. I'm not sure where it would be, like in a string perhaps. Does it say like where it happens? It's just like a crash. It doesn't even like report an error or something. Like, yeah, this happened at this line or whatever. Oh, what the hell is this? Oh, I was running. Okay. So we're still in the stack trace, I think. Yeah. It's a very nice to get the whole stack here, actually, but I get. But okay, so yeah, I don't know. Semantic tokens. It's like write node tokens. Like something goes wrong. It's writing it to what? And then I guess maybe to the server. I don't know. Or the the client. I'm just reading here, trying to figure out if I can get some information out of this. Result type, node text node, and then here you get some sort of unreachable code. Where does it reach unreachable code? Here? Like, is this a invalid type of node and it can't access? I don't know. Okay. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna look at that anymore now. So, right. We get a segfault at draw entity. And where did we go? We went from here to request document type ID, which is the first thing that is happening here and the thing that we actually changed. So that's why I thought that maybe something weird is happening here. So request by ID there. Yeah, and if something is wrong, then it just returns, so it shouldn't crash or get a segfault or whatever. Okay, I have to. I'm stumped. I have to do the log thing. So requesting entity type document, and we'll give C, which is the UUID, so it should be possible there. Requesting texture. Getting grid position. These shouldn't be a problem. Destination. And then drawing texture. Okay. And then it just exits. So I'm guessing it happens in here because that's the last thing it usually says here. And when it's a segfault, it's basically stopping at the last like entered sort of function that's running. So if it would exit draw entity, well, that might mean that we don't get this line here. So I don't know, but I'm just gonna do this and see what happens. How do we trigger this? We open up this. Okay, yeah. So let's see what we get. Requesting. Right, so it fails inside here. Requesting texture. And then it fails, so no, getting grid position. Okay, so it fails here, which means there's something wrong with this entity type document for some reason. It worked better when we actually didn't have the ID. Let's see if the index actually matches. So we'll open up this. Requested the document. Here is this document. Right? It does exist. It says it's in entities and then there. It's not in the okay. Entities. Elder. Yeah, it's here. And we have a texture ID, which we also get, and that seems to also exist. So it's like it's getting the texture ID from the actual document, but when it's trying to get the grid position and stuff, cell size here, it fails for some reason. The entity type. Okay, so let's just double check here again. After trying to get the good position, we get a segmentation fault. So yeah, this just returns. Yeah, it does the same thing as request document type, right? We return the exact same type. We request the document by path instead. I mean, what we could do is we could make this into an ID and then return document by ID. Right? Like, and now if we open up anything here, well, this works. The text, opening the texture here works. And the time map, that works. But this does not work. I am confused. Did we? Yeah, because we are getting the ID, so we did save and we checked the ID. The ID is correct. Man. Let's see, entity type. Get cell positions, get persistent data. Because it's like we're using the same functionality basically as previously. It's only now we're using an ID. Oh, wait. No, but the ID should be serializable and work fine with JSON and all that. Yeah. It's weird because it's getting that texture ID perfectly, but when it tries to do this, it fails. Is something happening here? Like it fails, like what if we move this up here? Will it fail there? And then we have to do this. I doubt it, but I mean, it can still fail at other places as well, so. So here we're getting grip position. Now it works. Then we're requesting the texture. So after requesting the texture, something weird happens. And we get segfault here. What the what is happening? Request texture. So what is happening in there? Request texture. That's just, it's just this. What? Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just make a do a test here. Wait, where was the thing? Ah, in here. So I wanna basically log out this entire structure. Okay. So where's grid position? Wait, what? Why is the icon missing here? No, we have text tracking. Okay, here's the icon. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. We have the elder. So here's the icon. We have texture ID, grid position, cell size. Yeah, that all looks good. Okay, now let's do the same thing, except after we request the texture. And see what it says. It's probably gonna crash at that point, so we'll just see if there's anything we can see. Yeah, now it's crashing while trying to write this stuff. So something weird is happening with the contents of this thing, which is it's a pointer, I think. It's a pointer to the document. Is it because we are reaching a capacity point? So when we request a document, at which point can it get invalidated? It's like when we're putting it into the map somewhere, the hash map. Where do we do that? Oh yeah, we do it right here. So at this point, all currently held document pointers might get invalidated. Right? So actually, we have to make sure that each time we're requesting a document, we actually need to... Okay. So either we could just raise the capacity and just fix it like that, or we can, because, okay, so the problem is that when you're dealing with hash maps or array lists or whatever, they have a capacity which is like the maximum amount of items you can put into there. So let's say on an array list, for example, you have 10 items maximum. That's 10 capacity, but the actual length of the array might be 0 or 5 or anything in between. So when you wanna, let's say you're reaching the capacity and you want to append more items to an array, well then it has to allocate more memory, which means it might actually change the location entirely to a different place in the memory. So that means that if you grab pointer from the array from before, then that pointer is gonna get invalidated. That means it's not going to be pointing to a valid place in memory. Once you reach the capacity, it's gonna extend the capacity, which might relocate the array to somewhere else. And then it's basically like moving a house to a different place. And then you go to that address again and you get like an empty lot and nothing is what it seems. So so the same thing happens with the hash map. It works the same way. And well, this is an array hash map. I'm not 100% sure of other types of hash maps, but the array ones, they're there to keep things in the same sort of place, so you can iterate over that quickly and easily. And well, yeah, if it's the same thing there. If you reach the capacity, if you append a new item, it's gonna relocate. And then old pointers won't be valid anymore. So I think that is what's happening here, because we are requesting a texture that might push it over the edge and relocate the old. So this pointer is no longer valid. So what I'm thinking is maybe we dereference it, or because we don't really, at this point, we don't actually need it to be a pointer, I don't think. We just okay, let's get rid of all this now. So I think that's the issue. And well, as I said, there's a couple of ways you can fix the issue. That one would be to increase the capacity, which would be nice anyway, because it sort of speeds things up a little bit. But we're still gonna face the risk of reaching that point, which will randomly like crash the program. So in order to fix that, well, you could fetch the entity type and then fetch the texture, but then we need to fetch the entity type again after that. So we have to basically do this. Okay, and that will whoops, wrong program. Yeah, let's see if this works now. Okay, now it works. So I think that's the issue. So yeah, I mean, it's annoying, really. And the problem with just increasing capacity is you never know how much you need, and it's just a guess. It's just postponing the issue. I guess the documents really are just headers though. So they are actually not that large. So you could potentially supply a large capacity of those, because they are basically a couple of pointers. They are like maybe 4 pointers or something like that. If you go to document and you see, so this one is a pointer, then we have content, which is a union enum here of these types, but all of these types are the same type. They are the document generic. Well, actually they aren't. They are actually, they do have their own stuff in them, but if we go and check, the only thing that they have is document, and which is this one, this generic thing, which only has 2 pointers. So it's these 2 pointers, and then it's gonna be this pointer. So it's 3 pointers actually. Each document is only 3 pointers, and yeah, and you know, you could potentially add like 1,000 capacity to that, or maybe even 10,000. That would be like, because each pointer is 64 bits or 8 bytes. So 24 bytes times 10,000 is like 240,000 bytes. That's 240 kilobytes. It's like nothing really. I mean, you could even add 100,000 and it would be like 2.4 gigabytes almost. No, not gigabytes. What am I saying? Megabytes. So it's like, it's really nothing. So we could just increase the capacity to a whole bunch, so we don't have to worry about this problem any ever again, basically. Although it would be nice to actually not have this pattern, so we don't have to worry about it at all. But where were we? I think when we draw the entity, yeah, this is the issue here. So this fixes it, but I don't want to have this pattern here. And another pattern would be to actually not have a pointer to the document, but instead have just the document itself, which contains pointers. So yeah, so maybe this should not actually return pointers. That would also solve the issue, I guess. But let's do this. So now I'm just gonna demonstrate here. This will crash now because we reverted the change, so this crashes. We've reached like a stable point here where we can actually crash it every time. Okay, so and then, which is nice to have deterministic crashes sometimes. Okay, so now let's go to, where do we actually store this stuff? Where is the document storage? Here. So here's the storage, and we're actually saying empty here. We could just say here, we could just say init with capacity instead. And so let's just check if we actually initialize this anywhere with capacity, or if we just use it as is. Okay, so we don't do that. So let's actually do this. Let's do init. Oh my god, I have to look this up. Okay, 1 second. I can show you. I can show you here. The world, I can show the world of Zig. So what was it now? Oh yeah, array hash map, string array hash map, or something to this effect here. I guess it would be sort of this one, the one that is using here. Yeah, this one. Values empty, capacity. Where does it like return itself? Clone context. Here. No, this one is weird. I don't understand when to use this one. I guess if you have a constant, if you want to have a constant hash map or something like that, I don't know. But then it's like allocating stuff. I don't know what this is. I mean, it's like you can provide a key list and a value list if you have like a constant initial thing there. Maybe, I don't know. So there's only one init here. So you can't init by capacity. You have to like create an empty and then promote, and then sort of ensure capacity or something like that. Reindex, reinit. Okay. Shrink, sort, swap row, unlock values. Okay. Unlock pointers. Undo is a call to lock pointers. What? Is that for a multi? But attributions and say, well, any method call that causes an existing key or value pointer to become invalidated will instead trigger an assertion. Okay, so will it just crash? Is that the idea? Okay, I guess that would actually be good, because then you can catch this sort of error. Yeah, that's a way to actually catch this error here that we just got. But it's annoying to have to call this function though. I guess you could... I don't want to have to call it everywhere you want to request a couple of documents. So we probably want to lock it every frame in that case, like lock it at the beginning of the frame and unlock it at the end. And then do some sort of capacity check or something, I don't know. Like ensuring that we have a little bit more capacity or something like that. So this would actually... Okay, but that's good to know actually. I'm not sure if I'm gonna remember to use it, but... Okay, anyway. So there is no initialize with capacity. So you have to like... you have to use something here. Where's that? Ensure capacity, yeah. So... ensure total capacity, increases capacity, guaranteeing insertions. Not cause and that can fail. Another good thing about this is if we just ensure total capacity, and then we can, instead of using like put, we can swap every put and stuff to assume capacity. I'm not saying that it will cause any super optimization. It's just nice to have, I guess. It's not really gonna make a big deal, so I'm not gonna do it, but it's just a thing that you could think of if you're using this over and over again. And if you're, so that's a pattern that you would increase the capacity once, and then you would insert items assuming you have the capacity, and then maybe do some check after that and increase capacity again if you need. But yes, so we have to do this. Okay. So we'll set it to empty first. So we would actually have to do this like this. Ensure total capacity. So we allocator and then the capacity. So I'm just gonna set this to like 100,000 and see if that actually works. That's gonna be like a couple of megabytes. We don't actually need that much. That's like if you only need it, you need one per document. And that's if you open every document. So are you gonna have 100,000 documents? Maybe in a extremely huge project, I don't know. But that feels like a pretty good upper limit. Let's see what's happening here. No field member called, unsure. Oh yeah. So it's gonna be map. Error union is ignored, so I'm just gonna catch unreachable. There we go. I'm just going to demonstrate that we can actually open this now without fail, because we have the capacity. Okay. And well, I guess the only place we actually do anything with this is wait, clear and free. Does that mess with the capacity? I don't think so, right? Releases the backing allocation. Okay, so it does do that, but we only call the initialize if we want to exit the program, so it's not really a huge issue anyway. So here we do put. We can actually do assume capacity now. I said I'm not gonna do it, but I'm doing it anyway. Yeah, and everything here has variants to this, so assume capacity, and then we actually don't need to put an allocator in there, and also there's no catching this error, so the only thing that can happen here is it's gonna crash because we're assuming capacity. Yeah, get pointer, get or put, and this one also has assume capacity. Okay, I'm gonna do it because there's not that many places where I need to do this. So this one has assume capacity, and then we just move that, and there is no error, so we can remove that as well. Swap remove. That doesn't really need capacity. Fetch swap remove. I'm not sure if that actually needs capacity either. No, just fetch put. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Now let's just redo this so we ensure that it works still. Yeah, there we go. And here we have our entities. Now let's also try and add a new entity because we haven't tried that. So let's add this one, save, exit, go back, open the scene. There we go. Now something is wrong with it should reopen the thing that we already, like the last thing that we had. So I'm gonna check the editor session, and this is null, which is weird. So let's check why this is happening here. Create editor session. If we have an editor, then document the file path, else no. Okay. Oh, main store session. What's happening here? Oh, we're adding. Oh, we're setting the brush. Oh yeah, yeah. This is like setting the brush to. Just remove this. Okay, so why are we not saving that properly? I guess you can do or else. No. Yeah, so it does exist. Why isn't it set? Why doesn't it set that then? Okay, now it's set. Now it is there. But then we open and it doesn't restore it. So the session works. Well, let's open there. So the session is stored correctly, but it's not restored correctly. Okay. Load. Yeah, we're loading the index. We're checking for this and opening that. I mean, we should probably have this here. But yeah. Open editor by ID. So this requires the asset index to be correct, which we have here. We actually load it here, so it should be populated. And then we get the ID. Maybe we log here. If the ID doesn't exist, we log couldn't find ID. I guess warning. No, we don't have the ID. Could not open document. ID not found. Could not open document. ID not found for that. Okay, but otherwise. Let's see if that's the issue. Let's start. I have to go soon here, but I'll just try and fix this issue first. So could not open document, ID not found. Okay. So that was the issue. ID not found. Now this just goes into asset index and tries to get the ID there. And it's strange because it should exist here. We are loading the index here. Is it not able to do it? Could not load. No. It should exist. Let's just print out the whole thing here. Oh, it's someone's calling. 1 second. Okay, I need to go now. Okay, I'll just check this last thing here. I can't leave this here like that. So this is gonna be, yeah. I just wanna log out. That can I do JSON format just real quick? And it's gonna be current project and asset index. Yeah. So this is, so when we save, we stringify hash map, self-dot hash map. So let's just do that. Hash map. Okay. Come on. Expected 2 arguments. Oh yeah. Stringify options. Okay, so we'll open up you, exit, and then rerun, exit. Here is the index, so we have all the stuff in here. And it says somewhere here, could not open, ID not found for this guy. Well, let's search for this. Yeah, it's right here. What? Okay. So good, great, perfect, smashing. Okay, I have to quit here, so I'll just put a to mark whatever, so I don't forget whatever I was doing here. Investigating why restore session does not open editor. Like editor for last open document. It doesn't find the ID for a given path. Maybe the path is wrong. Maybe we need to have like // or I don't know. But anyway, I have to go. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hope you have a nice day.